Hey Stoners, welcome to another edition of Sticks and Stones, and welcome to part 2 of our season finale. I am your host, Brent Elrod, coming to you from the lovely confines here at No Shoes Bar and Grill, deep in the heart of the Republic of Texas. Got a great show lined up for you today. As I said, this is part 2 of our season finale, where I am going to be presenting my top 5 spirits for season 1. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Now, as I said, this is the top 5 spirits, not the top 5 whiskeys, scotches, bourbons, rums, whatever. I try to get a little bit of everything and kind of be all inclusive. Although, when you're only dealing with 5 places, it's limited to what you can get in there. But we're going to start off with something that's a little bit outside the norm, and it was a little bit outside the norm when I paired it, but it was wonderful. And that is Ware's Otima 20 Tawny Port. Now, Ware's has been making port since 1670. They know a little bit about making port. And this is some of the best I've ever had. I might not have been able to smoke 5 cigars in a day for part 1, but I can definitely try a little bit of all of these spirits for part 2. So, hold on to your hats. Now, visually, you can see that this is just a beautiful, deep amber color. It's one of the most beautiful spirits I think I've ever seen. It's just got a really nice kind of reddish hue to it on the nose. I get caramel, something along the lines of like dried oranges, and just loads and loads of sweet fruit. We're going to sample it. Oh yeah, this was as good as I remembered it. Of course, it's very, very sweet. Port is more of a dessert wine. But you get a lot of fruit. You get a heavy dose of sweet. You do get a little dose of spice. It's not quite along the lines of spiced wine, but sort of headed that way. So you get a little bit of spice and a little bit of fruit and a lot of sweet, and it's a wonderful burst in your mouth. Wow. Great number 5. We're already started off well. Now, number 4, moving to a different class of spirits. Number 4 was Tequila Ocho Plata. Tequila. I had never had Ocho Plata, but this turned out to be an amazing bottle, and I definitely am going to be trying more of Ocho Plata's offerings. Now, one thing that they do that maybe not all the other tequila makers do is they strictly small source. This particular bottle is 100% Jaliscan agave from one small estate growing agave. So you know it all comes from the same farm. Now this is Blanco. This is their initial offering. And then you get añejo and things of that nature. So this is clear. They use stone ovens to cook the agave in, and then they 2-time distill it in copper stills before aging it in open air vats. So it is just a plethora of nature involved in Tequila Ocho Plata. Now on the nose, you get citrus, kind of a small hint of floral, earth, some herbs, and also a little bit of pepper or spice. on the palate. It is a wonderful tequila, and it tastes so different from the other tequilas that I've had. And I think that's one reason why I latched onto it. Because on the palate, you get citrus, you get a hint of mint, which is peculiar, but very good. You get some pepper, some herbs, some flowers, and then a little bit of earth, and maybe even some cooked agave in there. It's a really great tequila. And, like I said, it's entry level. So it's not overly pricey. And it's great straight. It's great in mixers. Again, not overly pricey, so you're not worried about mixing something or using it to mix something with and pouring out tequila that's really expensive just to mix it up. This is a great tequila just to keep on the shelf. And the Retro Inhale has got this kind of conglomeration of earth and cooked agave and maybe even a little bit of pepper. It's a very, very complex and interesting spirit, and I am really enjoying it. I have found that just like with any of the whiskeys, the scotch and bourbons and like that, tequila has its own family of people that sip tequila as a sipping spirit, and they enjoy it just as much as us whiskey drinkers enjoy our scotch or our bourbon or our Irish or whatever. Tequila is a very underrated beverage when it comes to sipping. Everybody just talks about shooting tequilas and having margaritas, but there's more to it than that. But moving on, we now get to a whiskey. Our number 3 on our top 5 of season 1 is W.L. Weller Special Reserve, or Green Label. This is an excellent, excellent bourbon. It is distilled by the good folks over at Buffalo Trace, who, as we all know, make some excellent spirits, a la Pappy Van Winkle and Buffalo Trace. Buffalo Trace, that's a word that might be coming up here pretty soon in a pairing video. Just a little teaser. So, the Weller has a beautiful, beautiful kind of copper color to it. Now, it is a Kentucky wheated bourbon. It's 70% corn, 16% wheat, and 14% malted barley. It's 45% alcohol by volume, so 90 proof. It's aged from 4 to 7 years. On the nose, you get caramel, cherries, and a really nice hint of vanilla, which kind of adds a creaminess to it. On the palate, that is a super smooth whiskey, and it's probably one of the best ones I've ever had. Now, I've never been able to try Pappy, but this has absolutely, even at 90 proof, it has no alcohol burn at all. Just a wonderful wash of cherries and oranges and some cinnamon and just a little bit of chocolate mixed in there. It's a wonderful, wonderful bourbon. Probably one of my favorites. It's getting to the point now that I have so many favorites, there almost aren't any non-favorites. But that is delicious. Moving on to number 2. This is one that I raved about when I tried it and I paired it. I paired it with a Rocky Patel 60. It was absolutely delicious and probably knocked off my most favorite Scotch on my list as my most favorite. This is a wonderful spirit, and it is the Dalmore 12-year-old. This is an absolutely wonderful Scotch. Not only does it have a kick-ass bottle, it is a wonderful beverage just by itself. Now, I did try the 15-year and the 18-year, but just for me, I thought the 12-year was really better. I'm not saying that the 15 or 18, there was anything wrong. For my palate, I thought the 12-year-old was the top of the heap. But, as you can see, again, this is a little bit lighter than the Weller, but still kind of just a beautiful copper color, more of a lighter, on the lighter end of the spectrum of copper. On the nose, I get cinnamon and almonds, some chocolate, and just a little bit of creamy caramel. Now, the Dalmore is a Highland Scotch. It's 12 years aged, but the last 3 is in sherry casks. It is 40% alcohol by volume, so again, 90 proof on the palate. It's a little bit heavier spirit. It's not quite as light as the Weller is. And when I mean heavier, I mean it kind of coats your tongue a little bit. But you get heavy notes of chocolate and a little bit of spice. You get some oak and kind of a mixture of toffee, which adds creaminess, but also coffee. It's absolutely wonderful. Like I said, I think it knocked off my old number one. I have always been a fan of Johnny Walker Green Label. But when I tried this, it just blew me away. Now on the retro inhale on that one, I get a lot of oak through the nose. I don't know that I really tried retroing when I was mixing it with the Rocky Patel 60 when I was pairing it. But those two go together like, as Forrest Gump said, peas and carrots. They are wonderful. And you definitely need to try them together if you haven't. Well, there we go. We have our top 4. We're down to our number 1. Unfortunately, because of logistics, I can't sample number 1 again. I can only tell you about it because it's still not available for sale. You can pre-order, but you can't drink it right now. Our number 1 spirit for season 1 of Sticks-n-Stones is Heaven's Door Decade Series release number 1. Now I can't sample it. I don't know. I might be able to get a drop or 2 out, but I can get a little bit of the nose again. Now, release number 1 is a Tennessee bourbon. Heaven's Door is headquartered in Nashville. As I mentioned when I paired this spirit, this was my last pairing of the year. It is partially owned by the man himself, Bob Dylan. He is one of 3 owners. And he provides all of the artwork for the bottles. They actually have several different lines. They have a barrel strength and a rye and several other ones. But this is the new Decade Series, and this was the first release. Now, it's aged 10 years. and it is 50% alcohol by volume. So it's 100 proof. It's got a little kick to it. And again, on the nose, I get pears, bananas, some caramel, and maybe a little toffee. Okay, let me just see if this works. Unfortunately, no. But on the palate, I had gotten a dark chocolate, caramel, toffee, and a hint of a nice creamy sweetness. It's just an absolutely wonderful spirit, and especially to be 100 proof, you wouldn't think it. To take a drink of it, it is not harsh at all. There is no alcohol burn to it. It is an extremely, extremely smooth whiskey, and it is as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. Okay, well that does it. That is my top 5 spirits for season number 1 of Sticks-n-Stones. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have enjoyed bringing it to you. I hope you've enjoyed this first season and that you continue to watch for seasons more. And you tell all your friends, your coworkers, relatives, everybody about the show and get them to listen. We've been growing. I want to keep growing. I am really enjoying bringing this to you, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. Until next time, when I might be pairing Buffalo Trace. Keep your sticks dry, your stones cold. Have a great day.